Welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast, broadcasting from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Empire and on the fringes with the New Republic. Join your hosts Garrett K. Jones, Brian Karasik, and John Mark Tolley as they discuss the various facets of the saga's lore and characters, review the films, and discuss every tidbit of news coming out of Lucasfilm. Remember, this isn't just your Star Wars, this isn't just my Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. This is the way.
It is indeed the way. Nanu Nanu.
Wow, that's a reference I haven't heard in a very long time.
Sorry. All right, welcome back to another episode of War of the Stars.
It's been a week, man.
You have no idea. No idea. A lot of stuff went on behind the scenes at Casa del Tali. But we are here, and we're here to talk about one of my favorite subjects. Is Starfighters. I love Starfighters. Let me just say that straight off the bat. I probably forgot a lot of info about Starfighters, but I grew up with older parents, and I grew up with a dad who loved to watch old World War II documentaries and old World War II films, and as a result, I fell in love with the old World War II warbirds, the old fighter planes from that era. And especially the original
ones
trilogy.
That are invisible, right?
Yeah. Those ones.
Yeah, the ones piloted by the Romulans.
Exactly. But
how I get fired.
yeah. But especially at the original trilogy, the Starfighters from there always reminded me of those old World War II planes. Just the fact that you find, watching the behind the scenes stuff, and you find out that Lucas used footage from the Battle of Britain, actual war footage, to base the dogfights over the first Death Star. I mean,
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He shot the sequences like almost scene for scene.
Yeah. Basically, just overlaid the X-Wings and the TIE fighters with them and used it scene for scene for battle. But yeah, they're actually use actual gun footage from British RAF fighter planes to base the dogfights scenes off of, which is why they look so realistic.
So that, and they use practical effects instead of digital effects.
Yes.
I mean, I can't imagine. We've all seen the documentaries and the behind-the-scenes stuff on all the different mock-ups that they did for the miniatures and models that they were using throughout the shots. The fact that they composited them so beautifully, in that, you go back to the original recordings, and it looks a little clunky by today's standards, but when they remastered everything for the special edition VHS release in the 90s. I mean, for crying out loud, some of those effects hold up way better than some of the stuff that we have in CGI now.
Yeah. I think one of the things we should start with is just going around and telling each other what our favorite Starfighters are and why. Maybe do like a top 3 and kind of go into what we like about them and what we kind of think are cool about them. And why don't we, Garrett? Why don't we start with you?
Okay. Well, I'm a huge fan of. I grew up on the X-Wing fighter, of course. That's kind of one of my top. It's in my top 3 for sure. Just because it's iconic to the brand. It was the the first vehicle that we see Luke Skywalker ever fly, and so it's really cool. But the one of the fighters that I think got my attention the most when I was a youth was I was going through the gaming books that I have, and one of the coolest ones that I found was the E-wing. I remember playing through the. I remember playing through the role-playing game, and the E-wing, which I've got highlighted right here, is just this absolute gorgeous vehicle, because I mean it's built with kind of the same body type as the X-wing. It's a little broader in the nose, and it only has the two wings. It doesn't have the deployable foils like the X-wing does, but it's a little bit sleeker. And the only problem is I think the engines are a little bit bigger. It feels like almost like if you took the if like the X-wing was like a Camaro, this would be like the Trans Am version of it, because the engines are a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You don't need as many to get at the same level of thrust or power behind it. The other thing is, with them being mounted on the wings, they're less vulnerable to getting hit unless you're aiming straight for the back of the engine or the front of the engine. So yeah, this was one of my favorites. One of the cool things, there was a mod that I saw, this version right here, where they added an ion cannon to the top of the canopy. And I thought that was a really neat feature that they could do with that, because then you had 3 cannons instead of just the 2. And then there's this version that I've seen. I think this toy or a model, and this had a location for the an astromech droid to be locked in place to aid with repairs and everything else. And then, of course, I think probably my third entry would be the TIE Interceptor. It was one
that is
playing through the 2015 release of Star Wars Battlefronts on Xbox One.
Garrett took mine.
Well, it gives you opportunities in the game when you, depending on which side you're on. If you're on the Rebel side, you can play in either an X-wing or an A-wing. X-wings are always going to be better, and then it gives you an opportunity of playing in either a TIE Interceptor or a TIE Fighter, standard TIE Fighter. And I found that the TIE Interceptor had a little bit more boost to it. It had a little bit more maneuverability, and it was so much fun to pilot. And it was
150 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, it was fun.
700 miles an hour for those of us who live in the 3 countries that don't use metric.
Right, and ironically enough, the non-metric measurements are called Imperial. Interesting. Anyway, so yeah, I love playing it, and what was really cool is that it does give you that opportunity to set your view from being a third person, over the shoulder or over the aircraft, to being a first person where you're looking through the cockpit window. That jumping back and forth, like I found it easier to do the third person piloting. I think that's pretty standard for a lot of flight simulator games, but the first person viewport though was really cool, because you had the display of your targeting and everything right there in front of you, just like you would if you were actually in a cockpit. And I think, despite the fact that the game is rather weak in a lot of areas, including not having a solid campaign, that was one of the things that I thought was really good about it. And it was just straight dogfighting. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my 3 selections. Being in the TIE Interceptor.
Yeah, I like those. For me, I tried to find pictures of them, but I had a little bit of trouble. My computer's being slow. My number 3 would be the Z95 Headhunter, the precursor to the X-Wing. Just think of it like a shrunken down X-Wing without the S-foils. A really cool design. I really like that. It's so, because there's so many good ones. I really like, so the TIE Fighter game was one of my favorite games growing up as a kid, and the TIE Defender. Just such a unique design. The fact that we got to finally see it in canon, in Rebels, with Thrawn being the one to design, which it was the same in the game. He who was behind the design of the Defender. But my number 1 all-time favorite would have to be the Incom T-65B Space Superiority Starfighter, aka the X-Wing. It's just such an iconic plane.
It's a solid answer. I mean, why not?
Yeah. You can't. I mean, you can't do any. I mean, and I love the entire. Now, this is one thing I wish they would have put in Andor, to make it canon, because in Legends, the X-Wing was originally designed to be an Imperial Starfighter.
Yes.
Incom was a Imperial company, and the entire design staff defected to the rebellion, bringing with them the designs for the X-Wing Starfighter. And there was a game. There's one of the games. There was a whole campaign where you have to go and rescue and steal a bunch of prototype X-Wings and take them back to the rebellion. I think that would have been a cool little side mission with part of Andor, is to them to rescue and bring the design team from Incom into the rebellion.
I
think that would have been...
Recently I did something that the algorithm is constantly showing me videos of Skyrim and Fallout, where you let somebody join a walkthrough to find some rare weapon or armor or whatever. I'm like, where is my Jedi Fallen Order? Like, that's what I'm interested in. I never played Fallout. I mean, I played Fallout 1.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in this stuff, and I haven't played Skyrim in a decade. Quit it.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see some playthroughs from Fallen Order. I keep hearing awesome things from Garrett and watching my friends play. Like, that's... I used to be one of people watching videos with other people playing video games.
Fallen Orders it's a lot of fun. Really quick, are you guys familiar with the TIE D?
No.
I'm about to be.
This was one that was featured in the Vehicles and Vessels manual for the role-play game. And this was something that was incorporated, and I loved it because it was a droid automated starfighter, hence the D in there. And it had a completely different ion engine design. But what's really cool about it is it very, very much looks like one of the Vulture droids from the prequels. But like the thing I like about it is the fact that obviously all of the
are you kidding me?
Have to go into it. It wouldn't be very cost effective for the Empire. But like, I don't know why they didn't use more of these. I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about pilots.
I would like to note that the Crafts was piloted by I'm not making this up, Cybot Galactica A6 droid brain. This is clearly a Cylon starfighter. It's based on a Cylon Raider.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it.
Now that you say that, I see it, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, that was always something I always found funny in the original Battlestar Galactica. It was like, you're robots. Why are you piloting this ship? You got 3 Cylons sitting in a Cylon Raider. Why isn't the Cylon Raider its own entity? And they fixed that in the new Galactica. But yeah, And I was just thinking, like, boy, this looks like one of the Cylon Raiders, and then I see that it's piloted by a Cybot Galactica droid crane. I'll give it to you, Lucas. Nicely done.
I never really focused on the story of Battlestar Galactica, at least for the new stuff, because like all I would like, it came on when I was in college in Monterey, and so like I had access to the Sci-Fi Channel. I would turn it and Caprica on, but I would just mute everything because I'd be working on something. Because really, the only thing I was paying attention to was either Katie Sackhoff or Trisha Helfer, and that's it. I could not have cared less about the rest of it.
No
Fair.
argument.
Fair.
I hold this up as an example of my bona fides of being a dark side guy. I have a plate that my mom had made. This was something you could send away, like your kid would draw some art, and then you'd send the art into this company, and the company would bake it into like a plastic 70s plastic dish. And so I have a plate. My daughter ate dinner off it tonight. And on that plate is my drawing of a bunch of Cylon Raiders destroying Galactica Vipers. And it says right on it, Brian, age 6. So there I am, 6 years old, drawing the bad guy robots winning. But yeah, that's. I had forgotten about this Ty D. I did not play the game over much, but that's a great pick. I like that.
That is. What I also got to give a shout out to is the B-wing.
B-wings are pretty cool.
That's pretty.
I'm still not seeing I love B.
What's that?
Like, I don't see a B. Like,
well,
you look
if you
at
turn
an
it upside
X-wing,
down, if you turn it upside down, maybe, and have it face a certain way.
They should
I always thought it
lowercase,
was more like
upside
a
down
letter
lowercase B-wing.
Yeah.
It's really more of a T, or depending on the angle, X. And also, I will say a lot of these letters are really dependent on the fact that every starfight has one down and one up direction.
Right.
Well, Garrett took my favorite, which is the TIE Interceptor. I always thought that was cool. And I was a big TIE Fighter fan early on, but the TIE Interceptor just looks sleek.
I'm not surprised.
But, I mean, the Imperial shuttle was disqualified for not being a starfighter, so I had to go with my second choice. But
well, in the original X-Wing game, one of the fighters it's not a shuttle, but you can use the assault gunboat, which is basically a souped up shuttle with a lot of weapons on it.
I'm surprised the Naboo N1 Starfighter didn't get much love from you guys, because that's my number 2. I think that's a cool one.
Yeah.
I was really happy to see that come back into play in Mandalorian. I was like, oh, those guys didn't get much.
Yes.
I like it. It's reminiscent
of the Nubian design.
Like, what's a Nubian?
Well, they call it they call the ship the model of Amidala's ship as Nubian.
Yep, I know.
In episode 1, I don't get that. Like, none of it comes from a desert. I don't see any Egyptians working on this thing. But yeah, I guess like
Nabubian wouldn't have come across well.
No. But like the Starfighter looks cool, and I don't know. It felt some of that tech just felt it felt too new for an older generation, and whereas everything looks almost like, I mean, yeah, the Empire stuff looks pretty sleek, and it's all uniform. Yeah. But the thing I liked about the Rebellion ships is that they look like they were stripped down, and hodgepodge together.
In canon, Naboo had just built that fleet.
Oh, that's true.
It was brand new.
Yeah. Well, and you can look at, I mean, this is kind of getting into the weeds maybe a little bit, but you could also look at that pre-Clone Wars, pre-Rebellion era.
Grab my vehicles and vessels manual. Hold on.
Okay.
Because of course, I love that you've got that ready to hand.
I so wish I had that. But you can look at that as almost like a golden era. That's why I kind of look at that, the prequel era, and why it's so shiny, and is you still had, there were still people advancements. They were still, making new stuff, and the rebellion was held together with spit and gum and
the Force.
Yeah, and the Force.
Yay.
I like the Naboo Starfighter because it's reminiscent of like a wing swept forward.
Yes.
You guys remember the Conquest jet with G.I. Joe?
Yeah.
That was the first toy jet I ever saw that had the swept forward wings, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I think didn't they make a Python Patrol one of those? It was like same plane but with scales on it.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was such a nerd. I would write letters to Hasbro and beg them to send me extra stickers, and they sent me this stack of like just random like sticker sheets from all kinds of different vehicles. So I had a Cobra Sky Striker, I had a Cobra Snowcat. I was full on.
I'm sensing a theme here with you, Brian.
In third grade, when we played space, I wanted to be the xenomorph. Like, there's no. Garrett, can you share what I'm pop up what I'm sharing there?
Yeah, go for it.
So this is my third favorite ship, not the T-56, but the T-70.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to show you something about the T-70, which is the fact that the engine's split in half and the wings open. It's a little concerning to an aviation guy like myself. I can suspend a lot of disbelief, but those are two turbine engines that are bisected by the combat setting of the aircraft, and I would love to hear canonically how this functions, because it is literally impossible for those to be engines.
Yeah, unless they're like spoon engine type designs.
In which case, why make them like that? You know, like
exactly, because then here's the thing is like I don't understand how these things would need propellers, because if you're flying through space, there's no air intake.
Right. Well, they do. I mean, they are intended to operate within an atmosphere, and we see them.
Right, and that makes sense. But like at that point, use some kind of like fusion drive or something.
Well,
like you don't need impeller fans on your
right.
engines.
Right. And if you do, they wouldn't work like that.
No.
Yeah.
That said, the ship looks cool, but I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Wait a minute. So
wait a minute.
I used to, I'm going to share something here from my aviation history. When I worked in the flight simulator community, the sims that I worked with had a root level access, which allowed you to set up Star Wars backgrounds. So if I may share me one more here. Anyway, so we could line up Star Wars scenery on the simulator field. So pop me up there for Garrett.
You got it.
So this is me parking a C-130 in a Star Destroyer.
I love it.
And
nice.
These were functional interactive ships in the sim. Like right now it's on park, so I could take the picture. But you'd have TIE fighters flying by, and it's a fully immersive simulation. And I share this picture every once in a while. And my favorite guy ever, I know his name. I don't know him, but I recognize his name. Maybe 8 minutes after I posted this, he responds by saying that model of Star Destroyer could never function inside an Earth-style atmosphere. I'm like, it's not about that, but I really respect your response. Yeah. Well said.
Speaking of that, one thing that I want to know is, okay, I can see the X-Wing, the design of the X-Wing being able to, work in atmosphere, seems somewhat aerodynamic. How in the heck does a TIE fighter function inside of an atmosphere? Because it is the most non-aerodynamic craft. It's a ball with two flat panels. How does it work in an atmosphere? Without just going like
warp bubbles? I don't know. So I'm surprised that nobody has said anything about Darth Vader's TIE Advanced.
The tide. Oh, yes.
That was. I agree. I don't think we get to see it do a whole lot in the original trilogy, other than get snuck up on by Han Solo. But yes, it's a nice craft. I actually got. Do you guys remember some years ago, Propel Drones came out with 3 Star Wars drones? There was a speeder bike, an X-wing, and a TIE Advanced, and they were just little quadcopter drones, but they had infrared beams on them, so you could dogfight with them.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
I was invited to the release of that in Brooklyn. I went up there and attended a demonstration. I did terribly at the demonstration, and I was given a complimentary promotional TIE Advanced. It was great. It would have been super fun if I had known one other person who owned this $250 drone, and it stopped working about a year and a half later, and I went on the company's website to see about getting some tech support, and they do not exist. But it was a lot of fun to play. So good times. And if you Google Propel now, all you get is like power drinks.
Yeah. So hey, there's a couple of other fighters that they popped up in Legends and stuff like that. They were featured prominently, or you could feature them prominently in an RPG. But there's a couple I think you guys would get a kick out of. So the first one we've got here, this is the A9 Vigilance. This is an Imperial fighter. If you notice, it looks very similar to the E-Wing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And this was more for like in Atmo and stuff like that. Wasn't a very wide or popularly known.
Oh, Dark Empire,
effective as a TIE.
Yeah.
But really cool design. You can see here some of the specifications. Like, I mean, you had thrust engines. So the engines were mounted on the wing, but because of the way they're set forward like that, they're a huge target.
Oh, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's like, who designed this? The next one I have for you is the Cloak Shape Fighter, which has kind of a very vintage bomber type design.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like something out of
this one.
Yeah, this was a fun one, and like I like the design just because of how unique it looked. Although, like, I mean, if you're using any kind of scanning system, you know, even passive radar is going to pick this thing up from a mile away. But I thought it was a really cool, really neat design. Very, very different. And I've mentioned it before a bunch of times, but well, not the ship specifically, but the character, Guri from Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, right, the Indian pop star, right?
Huh?
The Indian pop star.
Oh, not that Guri. We have Guri's Stinger. This is her ship. This is the top view, side view, and the sleek. Like, it's not a traditional starfighter, but it was an assault craft that she could.
It is a voluptuous assault craft.
Yeah, and given the design of the character, like it makes sense that a character with that kind of sex appeal would have something this sexy looking. I mean, this thing looks like a miniature Corvette with a bunch of extra engines tacked on.
I want a starfighter with some hips you can hang on to when you slow dance.
Right. But what's interesting is the ship itself was actually, I mean, based on the design, it was much larger. It wasn't the same size as a traditional starfighter because you had it was an assault ship, not a fighter. And so you had the cockpit here, escape pod access, boarding area. You had the main cargo hold, laser cannon turret access, similar to what you see in the Millennium Falcon.
Is this a single crewed aircraft?
Yeah. Yeah, but typically, and because it's fairly decent size, but this was typically operated just by Guri. This was her ship. This was what she operated.
That's cool.
And then what?
Oh, I was going to say, go on. I'll come back to it.
I got one last one. This is the Imperial I-7 Howl Runner.
Garrett with the deep cuts every time.
I know, right?
And this one I thought was a really cool design. This one again, it's a fighter, and it was during. It says here it was introduced as an Imperial fighter during the chaotic days of the Return of the Emperor. Short-range I-7 Howl Runners were first used by one of the major Imperial factions during the Imperial Civil War, and the Millennium Falcon had a brief run-in with a squadron of Howl Runners while on a mission to Coruscant to rescue Lando Calrissian and Luke Skywalker.
I like this image you have up there. It's just like, to hell with aerodynamics. We're a spaceship.
Right, and it's very sleek in its design. Like the sensor grid is right there at the front, right underneath the cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
It does have stabilizer fins for like when you're in Atmo, but I mean you can tell that this thing is designed for attack. There's
This
no
looks
two
like
way.
something you'd find on the last page of a book of 101 paper airplanes.
Yeah, and what's interesting though is if you look at the back of the design, which there isn't a whole lot showing that. Oh, here we go. These are like in the diagram I've got. These are referred to as exhaust nacelles.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm like the thing is just it's so cool. Like the interesting design. Like this is kind of like if you took a Corsa and you stuck wings and thrusters and cannons on it. That's what you've got, because like all the engine components are in the back of the ship, not in the middle, not underneath, not anywhere on the side. It's in the back of the ship directly. And
I like that one link you've got that says the Empire's ugly duckling. I mean, you can tell me it's sleek all you like, but that is a box. It's a box with wings.
It is. It's a flying coffin.
Yeah.
This is the Imperial version of a soapbox racer the Boy Scouts make to see which one flies faster.
But especially considering the fact that we got IG-88 in Mandalorian,
Yeah.
it would have been nice if we got to see his
This
ship.
ship is nice.
The IG-2000. This thing is so cool.
I got that in
looks-
Galaxy of Heroes.
It looks like it's about to punch somebody. It looks like, I don't know, those look like legs and arms. Like
Yeah, this thing looks like a predator, man. This thing is dangerous looking. Like the front of it, like this, the front ends here look like the pincers, and this looks like the head of like a spider or something.
Yeah, Space Lobster.
And it's so cool. Like I would have loved to have seen this kind of ship showing up, because like having it be part of Legends, great, cool, but bringing in IG-88 as a character in Mandalorian and not getting to see this brought into canon, that like missed opportunity.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the updates that they made to the TIE Fighter in the sequel?
Too many wings. They just kept stacking wings up on those things. It's like Gillette going nuts. Like, 3 blades is enough. Stop it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
Is that TIE Defender? It just looks like they're like, we got some extra wings. Slap them on that one.
Well, I was talking about just the update to the basic TIE Fighter, like making it bigger, making it a 2-seater.
Painting it black so you can't see it vividly contrasted against the blackness of space.
Right. I don't know why they weren't doing that more frequently.
I know. Yeah, apparently giving it shields.
That's key, and I mentioned that last week. Every time you see a TIE fighter explode, that's 5 to 7 years of Imperial training going up in smoke there.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the Empire is known for being unconcerned with the safety of its troops, but it's just economics, guys. That's a lieutenant commander who just went up in flames because you can't be bothered to bolt a couple of plates of plasticine on there.
So here's one for you, and this is another one that comes right out of
See, too many wings.
True, but this is the Virago. This is Prince Shizor's personal starfighter, and I love the design of this because I get where you're coming from with the too many wings, but like the design is really neat. It's different. It's unique from anything else we've ever seen, and it has the ability when you're looking at it where the wings can actually collapse down and give it a more stealthy profile.
Okay, for the folks at home who ever played D&D, this looks like an elven spelljammer. I like it. Nothing wrong with it, but I think sometimes design trumps functionality on some of these ships. Can you share the picture I've got up there, Garrett? This is the E-66 Scrambler fighter. It has an emergency egress for its sole pilot in case it crashes.
That's an egg.
E66, get it? No? All right.
Oh.
Mark said nanu. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Is this because I said nanu?
Yes.
It is. This is your fault, Mark.
Scrambler? Come on. This is quality. This is a free podcast. A free podcast. No Patreon. This is just available entertainment for you.
Okay. There's one last one I want to share with you guys. And oh good, I can find pictures of it.
It's a Crosshair attack, isn't it?
Nope. This is the Scimitar Assault Bomber. This thing would have been so cool to have be seen in canon. It's got a longer fuselage.
It looks like a lightsaber hilt. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like it looks like a Sith designed lightsaber hilt.
Yeah.
Quite.
And like the design of it is brilliant because I mean you've got the forward facing cockpit. Obviously, you're going to have a slightly larger crew complement because it's a bomber, and on top of that, I mean you've got all these bombs you can drop, and this thing makes the TIE bomber look like nothing.
Oh yeah.
Like this thing was made for doing like runs like Project Cinder.
Yeah. I'll say this: playing the old X-wing game, I absolutely hated missions where you had to use the Y-wing because that thing was so unmaneuverable in the game and so slow.
It's not maneuverable in a film.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. Ironically, though, I also hated using the A-wing because it was almost too maneuverable. It was.
The A-wing. Yeah, you barely tip the control stick and
it is you're just
spinning.
Yeah. I love the fact that they use the fact in Rebels when they introduced the B-wing. There's a whole episode where Hera is training to use the B-wing. It's a new fighter design that's come out, and they talk about how difficult of a craft it is to fly. Like that, you have to be, you have to have almost years of training and be very, very versed in spacecraft flight to be able to handle this thing because it's so touchy and so just whereas the X-wing was the opposite. It was specifically designed to be
as maneuverable.
Well, not just that, but for anybody with even the slightest amount of training to be able to hop in a cockpit and fly it.
Yeah.
Like it was specifically designed for that so that anyone could fly it with minimal training. Yeah.
It was interesting hearing about these things from you guys because I was really more about the on the ground, like the role play, the character interplay of these. I never played like any of the Star Wars Battlefronts, so the functionality of the ships, it was always just visual to me. So it was pretty cool. And again, Garrett with all the manuals.
Yeah,
that last one was really nice.
I wish I could have remembered all of because, like I said, when I was a kid, I could tell you like what type of engine all of them had, what type of how fast they could, their armament, who built them, the story behind them. But as I joke, I've slept since then, and I've gotten older, so my some of my focus on what I'm into in Star Wars has changed too.
That happens.
Yeah, but like I said, as a kid, really into fighter planes, so that kind of carried over into my Star Wars love and playing the X-Wing game, TIE Fighter, all of them. I had at one point I had all the X-Wing games. The only thing I didn't have was the original expansion for the original X-Wing, the B-Wing expansion. Otherwise,
really?
I had X-Wing, I had TIE Fighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and X-Wing. Well, I can't remember what they have one other X-Wing game, but I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, I had all of them, played them for hours on end. I would have loved to have had your job of being in a flight at one point, Brian, of doing flight simulator stuff. That would have been so cool. I would have been like a kid in a candy store.
The granularity of those things is amazing, Mark. When early in my helicopter career, I was testing the side cannons. I put a bunch of life rafts in the water, and I'm just picking them off to test accuracy. And I noticed the gun is pulling hard towards the aft. And I said to my colleague, like, hey, so the gun is pulling aft. Is that an expected result? Like, it's definitely on purpose. He said, yeah, I'm flying. Watch this. He goes, faster, it pulls harder. There's a motor in there to simulate wind drag. And
that's cool.
There's even one, like when you start the helicopter, you see the blade circling on the screen in front of you, but you also feel in the seat, whoa, 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 whoa. There's a motor in the seat to simulate the thrum of the engine. It's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, the most fun I've had on any kind of military grade simulator is the one out at the NAS Lemoore. They don't normally allow civilians on there, but we got special permission, my dad, my brother, and I, because we were friends with one of the squadron commanders, and it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. Like just because growing up playing video games, especially like the Afterburner series and stuff, like I knew what I was doing on there. The only thing we weren't allowed to touch was the castle switch, because it would bring up some kind of weapons menu that was completely classified, and they'd have to kick us out. But it was cool because, like, inside the control room, they had an area where you could play on a dogfight for a simulation, and you had control of guns, missiles, and standard stuff for like that you would see in a video game, and then you had the thrust, and it would give you a first person view of what you were doing, and so you'd have to lock on, and it was a lot of fun. Like, I shot down my dad a couple times, and this was after he took off from the landing runway. But my brother got so frustrated because, like, he got dizzy in the actual simulator because of just how it's this massive dome with the cockpit inside. So you have this full 360-degree view, and it drove him nuts because when he was waiting for his turn to go back in, he was trying to dogfight me, and he just could not get a lock on. So it was fun.
The only time I operated an F-18 simulator, I was trying to do a carrier landing. And after the 14th attempt, the pilot asked me if I was trying out for the Japanese Air Force.
Nice.
See, it feels like that one was with some well-rehearsed material. Yeah, I'll take it.
Nice. All right. Well, I think this has been a very fun Um,
And educational to me.
Garrett. Yeah. Garrett, what do we have planned for next week?
Okay, for next week, hold on a second. I am moving some stuff around here. Next week, we are going to be talking about Spaceballs 2, the Search for More Money. It hasn't come out yet, but we are going to be watching through the new teaser trailer, and we're going to react to it, and we're going to share our 2 cents about what we love about Spaceballs, what we don't love about Spaceballs, and which I don't know what's not to love. That's what we're going to talk about, because I kind of fudged the calendar this month. We had initially planned to take the week of 4th of July off. We did not. Whoops. So we had to scramble to find a new bit of content. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be talking about this next week.
All right. Brian, why don't you tell the there where they can find you on the internet?
Sure. Before I do, I want to tell you guys at home and abroad, I have renewed Disney Plus. I am currently watching Andor. You guys sold me on it. I'll forgive them for the Snow White live-action remake. Anyway, come see me on the Sith Library and Archives. I post as Darth Carosis, one of several dedicated and highly motivated fans there. We have about 50,000 followers. No big deal. We'd love you to be one of them. Come out there and see some of the Sith Empire, Dark Side related stuff we post out there.
Very cool. And Brian, don't ever forgive them for the live action Snow White remake. I know I'm not. As for me, you guys can connect with me on Instagram and X at GKJ_publishing, where I talk about my show The Right Way on YouTube. I also talk about my books, The Archives of Yassine Karan and Midnight Playground. I've got a series of fantasy novels that I think people would absolutely love. Go buy them. Give me some money. But on my show, The Right Way, we talk book recommendations, author interviews, and creative writing tips. I have my season finale coming out this Saturday, and I get to take a 2-month break from doing any kind of production on videos other than what we do here at War of the Stars. So I'm looking forward to having that breather.
All right. As for us right here at War of the Stars, if you want to contact us, you can do so several ways. First, you can email warthestars1@gmail.com. We are also on Instagram, X, and YouTube at warthestars77. You can also support the show or check us out on our StreamYard spread.com/shop/war-of-the-stars- if you want to buy merch. We are, of course, as Garrett mentioned, a proud member of Feast of Fandoms. Check out Feast of Fandoms. All the different shows on there. A lot of cool guys. Yeah. That will about do it for us. Join us next week as we talk Spaceballs 2. Until next time, remember, this is not just my Star Wars. This is not just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. Until next time, thank you.